Another area that I served in at the very end of my mission was in Riberalta, which, if you look it up on the map, is just a small little town on the side of a few rivers that merge and go into the Amazon, up on the northern end of El Beni, which is the province there up north. And it's very much jungle. It's an awesome experience to be there, and a town that's right on the side of the river that has a lot of, fishermen. You'll see a lot of different animals and eat a lot of different things, whether it's, fried crocodile tail, which is kind of like popcorn chicken or something, or, seeing, the monkey that, some people would eat. Unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to eat that. That would have been pretty amazing. But all kinds of fish, piranha, and other large fish that they'll catch there in the river. And you'll eat snake and things like that, which is an awesome experience that you'll have, being right there on the river, and just an hour drive away from the border of Brazil, which is another area called Guayara. And in the time that I was there, was kind of over that same zone, Riberalta and Guayara. So we were able to experience both areas. Man, I love that experience that I had there. Many people living, on just what they could provide for their family, going out each day to have enough, is a humbling experience, and a blessing, being able to witness that. You would have on your mission a member family usually, that would feed you every single day. They would have a well in the front of the house, or in the back, depending, that would be for the water. And then they would have another hole, or, you would say well, pozo, that they would cover up for the bathroom. So not every house out there would have running water, or would have a toilet that would flush. But it was an awesome experience to be out there, to build mud houses, for service projects, and to be able to, help the members serve in their community, and just love their neighbors, and give all that they have, even though it's not much, is a huge humbling and blessing, to see that. The area that I was in, the chapel, was not an actual built chapel. One of the areas just rented out, part of an old house, and they had the church plaque out on front, but there was about 2 rooms, maybe 10 by 10 feet, and then there was a covered roof in the back, which would be the sacrament hall. And on the side there was an open hut that had grass, a grass roof that was kind of, for the Sunday school, and then you would have all the primary children, in the room. That way they can't run around and be crazy. And the rest of the ward would meet there in the sacrament hall. And then when it would rain, everyone would have to, squeeze in real tight so they could be under the tin roof that was there. And those members of those wards were so strong, and they had such strong testimonies, and were always willing to help you and be there for you. If they saw, that you were working hard, and that you were a spirit and an influence for good, as you should be in the mission, they will feel of that energy and of that excitement, and the missionary work will flourish. You'll learn so much from those members, and they will help you with everything that they can. Not only feeding you, if they're ever eating and you happen to pop by, you're going to be eating. And a lot of times, Just don't ask what they're eating, just eat it. Culturally, when it comes to the food, don't ask, don't tell sometimes. Basically, you need to eat everything that's on your plate out of respect. Don't leave anything on the plate. Um, if that means that you have to eat it all, as sick as you might be, not to make them feel bad that you'll need to eat everything on that plate. Um, and the food there is awesome. The people there are so great, and that's just part of the great experience that you'll have. The city of Riberalta, I remember wanting to have the experience of going there, and my last transfer was, well, I'm not gonna say why I got sent there. um, But when I got on the plane to go to Riberalta, you had to stop in Trinidad, and then take another flight, another hour or so up to Riberalta, and you're seeing these beautiful winding snake-like rivers, and just jungle as far as the eye can see as you look down. You're only in a small plane of maybe 12 people. You're not 30,000 feet up in the air, so you're flying and you can look down and you'll see that you're over the Amazon. And as you go down, you know that you're going to arrive soon, but you're looking out the window and all you're seeing is jungle, and you're going down, you're getting closer and closer to the trees, and you're thinking to yourself, what are we doing? And out of nowhere, a dirt strip clearing, which is the airport strip, opens up, and you think you're going to go straight into the trees, and you just land on this one airstrip that's out there. And the airport is like this little, small building, maybe no more than 100 feet by 20 feet, just this one room that has a little counter for buying tickets, and then another you jump straight out of the plane and go onto the airstrip, and then you walk underneath the little covered area where you wait for the people to unload your bags and put them on these little carts and cart them over, and then you just pull your bags out, and and it's pretty awesome. And you get there and you're waiting for your new companion, and you meet him there. And you realize that there are really no cars there in Riberalta. Everybody has motorcycles. All the taxis and all the all the people who are driving their families to church and all that. If they're not walking, they have a motorcycle. And so that's an interesting thing, because it's the first time where you're not going to be riding with your companion. You're going to have to drive on jump onto the back of this motorcycle and tell him where you're going to go. Well, one way not to lose your companion is, instead of saying take me to this place, because they might you'll know your areas well enough where you should know where they should be turning, but to make sure you're together with your companion, to make sure they don't take a different route and you lose sight of your companion, one person will tell them where to go, and the other missionary will just say follow them. So that way they're not thinking, oh, I know how to get to this area or this neighborhood, and they'll take a different route. That way you can always be with your companion, even though you're on the back of separate motorcycles. There in Riberalta, it's just all red dirt, and at the end of the roads, it's just Amazon and jungle. A lot of the men are fishermen, and they'll leave their families and go on the boats and go fishing up the river for weeks at a time. And another interesting thing about Riberalta, depending on when you're there, I was there for nearly 6 months, and just so happened to be when it's almond season. So you'll be there, and you'll be talking to families about where's your husband at? And you'll find out, well, basically 50% of all the males, young and old, will leave the town and leave their families and go into the jungle and be harvesting, all the almonds. I didn't realize this, but they're in these huge, like, coconuts, and they fall down on the ground, and then you have to crack them open, and then there's the almonds inside. But for about 2 to 3 months of the year, all of the men in this town of Riberalta will leave the town and go, to make basically what they would make the rest of the entire year for work. They would go out and live in the jungle, basically harvesting. I wouldn't say harvesting, picking up and collecting all of these almonds. So it can be hard to go find people to teach, because you can't go into the house, with just, a single sister. So you have to work with the members of the church, and find people who are still there. But that's an awesome experience, just being right there, in the Amazon. There was a member, an investigator, which became a recent convert of ours, who had a big lot on the side of the river. So we, for a service project, our zone went out with him, and we hiked along the river, and you look on the other side of the river, and there's Brazil. And you're hiking along the river that's going to lead into the Amazon, and we get to this big area, this big field, and we basically just have to burn the whole field, and we're trying to do a controlled burn, and it's acres and acres. And that was an interesting experience, where he needed this land to clear out for the next season of harvest, because if he didn't have that crop growing, then he wasn't going to make enough for his family. This was this old 75-year-old man that was still working, and that's how it is there. In Bolivia, you'll work. There's no retirement. There's no government, pension or social security. You're working until very commonly, the last few days of your life, you're working, and your family is there to support you and take care of you. But it's very humbling to see what hardworking people they are there.